Oh, what's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Better report back for another video. And we are 3 days away from the US presidential election. Early voting has already started. Um, in several states, there have been hundreds of thousands, if not even in the small amount of millions of people who have already voted. Um, and I don't know kind of necessarily what I predict is going to happen. I will predict some things that are going to happen. I think the exact same as in 2020. That there is going to be the concept of the red mirage, which is that overwhelmingly, most people who are on the right do not vote early or do not do mail-in ballots. They will vote on the day, and for whatever stupid fucking reason, the US has opted to count the in-person votes first. I am just realizing I did not change my light. So there we go. So yeah, it is going to look overwhelmingly that the in-person votes are going to go towards Trump. It's going to look like he's taken almost all states. It's going to look like he has a massive lead. It's going to look like, he's going to win in a landslide. He's going to do exactly what he did the last time. He's going to try and stop the count early, before all of the mail-in ballots or before all of the counting has been done. Try to claim victory, and then even possibly try to do another insurrection attempt on January 6th. Um, I think that I do think that I do think Kamala is going to win. I don't know by how much. Um, because even the likes of Nate Silver, who I mean, like he was like once kind of renowned as almost a god when it came to kind of predicting um the election, and with his website 538 of about compiling all of the kind of the polls surrounding, who do you think is going to win, who do you think is going to get Congress, are you favorable, is the candidate favorable or not favorable, to with all of these things. And even now him, the website has had almost the exact same data for about the last month, and it's really, really weird. And it's gotten an awful lot of people talking and about wondering why this has happened and how this has happened. Like how is like and they're basically saying that an awful lot of the pollsters um are kind of pretty much just kind of saying that like they're not 100% sure who's going, like they don't want to, with the benefit of hindsight, they don't want to be seen as being wrong, and they don't want to be seen as having bad information and then just being seen as being wrong. And so they're kind of going, hey, it's 49-49, right? That's what it is. Almost statistically impossible that all of these major polling organizations have the exact same fucking data and have the exact same numbers. It's just statistically, it's impossible. With the variations of methodology, with the variations of the people that you poll, of the variations of all of these things, it is statistically impossible that they all have the same fucking number. It's just not. Um, so yeah, I think that they are just kind of hedging their bets, and they are just kind of saying, look, it's a fucking toss. They're saying it's anyone's game, but there's a few kind of outliers to this. there was a YouGov poll out, I believe it was last week, that had Harris up 4 points nationally, which was pretty much the same sort of lead, or it was in the margin of error of the same sort of lead that Biden had at this stage in 2020, which is a good sign. However, you think about how close that election was, and we already know that Trump is going to do something to kind of try and obfuscate this and to try and kind of so Michael says, I also think there is this I also think there is a silent Harris wave of women that won't say that they're voting for her. Yeah, 100% man. Did you see the it was an ad that the Kamala campaign brought out, and I mean it triggered beyond belief every conservative in the fucking country, because they were, and I think it was like Jesse Waters on Fox News. He literally said that it was akin to his wife cheating on him. If his wife told him that she was going to go into the voting booth and mark Trump, whereas she actually marks Harris, that would be akin to cheating. Fuck is wrong with you, bro? Like that is nowhere near fucking cheating. So anyway, yes, I do. Yeah, and look, women tend to vote more, just as like a demographic, and also women's voting turnout is higher than what was expected. So yes, as Michael says, Roe pissed off an awful lot of women, and even those that are pro-life, because whether they believed in abortion or not, it was about taking a right away from them. Yeah, absolutely. Um, and then we have they are so mad about the women that vote. They are screaming about repealing the 19th. Yeah, I mean, uh, look, I kind of tried to say to myself that I was not going to get um not necessarily distracted, but that I was just gonna just go full throttle into what I was kind of saying. I absolutely love and appreciate every single comment and everything else like that. But anyway, look, we're just gonna power on through because I not necessarily think that this is going to be a long video, but I think that it has the potential to be a very long video. And so yeah, just back on track. Sorry, ADHD. So yes, I think that the Red Mirage is going to happen. It's going to look like Trump is going to be winning. For the first 10 hours, say, first 12 hours. Um, and then the votes, the mail-in ballots, the early voting, all of that sort of stuff. That's all going to come in for Kamala, and I think that she is going to clinch it. However, why I think that it's slightly different than Biden, even though they're up relatively the same points, um, as Biden was in 2020 at this stage. Why I think it's going to be slightly different is because of the Madison Square Garden rally that Trump had. Which, look, there are some pundits, there are some people out there who are a little bit kind of hesitant about saying it. Look, I'm Irish, as anybody who, if you are new to the channel, if you are a friend to the channel, you will know that I'm Irish. I do not have a skin in the game. I do not have a direct I'm not affected directly by who wins the presidency, but I don't give a fuck. I'll fucking say it. That was akin to a fucking Nazi rally. It was ridiculous, ridiculous. There were some people making comparisons to the 1939 Nazi rally again at Madison Square Garden. And I mean, I'm sorry, it is insane. But yes, as you do kind of say though, the whole world does have skin in the game. With all due respect, you are a superpower. Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you. I do 100% agree with you. Look, because even though, look, I said that I don't have a skin in the game. If shit goes fucking badly enough and we're all fucking thrust into World War III. I mean, I'm 29, I'll be 30 next year. I don't necessarily kind of think that that falls under the kind of criteria of prime fighting age, especially with my physicality. But like I mean, like to say that you're not going to be affected by it, like right, like it's not, if it got to that stage to say that you're not affected by it, I mean, it's just wrong. Um, but the the point is that rally. I mean, it was just it was incredibly just fucking horrific. I mean, you look at it start to finish, and I mean, the opening act, Tony Hinchcliffe, uh, who people say that he is a comedian. He wasn't very fucking funny, and he was laughing at his own jokes more than the actual audience was. But um, when he compared the actual floating island of garbage to Puerto Rico, and you had all of these Puerto Rican celebrities come out and instantly flock to Kamala. And you had interviews with people who are Puerto Rican, who, um, had, and every single one of them are saying, "We're not fucking voting for him. Fuck that. We're not voting for him." Because look, it is true. It is true. Trump didn't personally say it. However, you have to think about this optically. Just just for a moment, pretend that you are impartial, right? That you're not going to vote for Kamala, you're not going to vote for Trump, right? Put yourself in the mind of an undecided voter. And even though it wasn't Trump that said it literally, that man stood up there and made those comments standing at a podium with Trump Vance written underneath it. That clip has gone viral. I have seen it everywhere. I've seen it all over YouTube. I have seen it all over TikTok. I have seen it all over Twitter because I refuse to fucking call it X. It's stupid. Elon can go fuck himself. Um, it is everywhere, everywhere, and all over every single clip that there is out there of that is plastered with literally with Trump's name. So I don't think that. I mean, you have hundreds upon thousands of Puerto Ricans scattered all over the US, but this is crucially, there is a huge amount of Puerto Ricans in Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania has been like basically tipped as one of the most crucial swing states. If Kamala gets Pennsylvania, she's won. She's won. Because in all of the toss ups and in all of the, oh, we don't know where these swing states are going to go, even if they are divided up almost 50-50, with her safe states and with even half of the swing states and with Pennsylvania, she's won. She's done. And crucially, Trump doesn't have a fucking argument to say, oh no, 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 this was rigged, it was done this way, it was done that way, whatever else. She will have won by such a high margin that he can't contest it. That's crucial. I think that um look, a lot of things have to go right for there to be no kind of fuckery afterwards and for there to be no kind of plausible reason for why Trump can say that or that it was rigged or it was stolen or whatever. It's and we all know that he's going to. We all know that he's going to. But there has to be a certain kind of very, very strict criteria to be met that that doesn't happen. Now, I want to kind of take a little bit of a detour. I want to kind of go on to give some what I hope will be kind of 50-50 of the time that I have here. and basically just kind of go through, okay, well, what if Trump wins and then what if Kamala wins? What happens? What happens if they win? Well, look, call me biased, but I think that if I think that what Kamala said in her closing argument is going to happen. If Trump gets in, he will walk into the White House with a revenge list. He has a bunch of people that's after fucking him over. He has a bunch of people that have said and done some things towards him that he don't fucking like. He has a bunch of people that have gone after him. I'm using his words and his rhetoric here, that have gone after him in the last 4 years, that he wants to take revenge on. You think that if he gets to the presidency once more, that he's not going to try and retaliate against the prosecutors, against the judges that have been over his cases, even though the vast majority of them have been thrown out, not for lack of evidence, but because of some bullshittery with a Trump favored judge in the most open fucking shut case of the documents case. They just threw it out because they like Trump. That needs to fucking stop, by the way. Um, you know, of fucking Jack Smith, who was brought untold amounts of fucking cases against him. You don't think he's going to take revenge on these people? Seriously? That's day one. That's day one. That's probably what he was talking about when he said that he was going to be a dictator on day one. So the idea that that's not going to happen, I mean, like, you're like living in a fucking fantasy land. You're in fucking Camp Delulu. Um, I think that when he gets in, he is going to undo almost all of the work that Biden has done when it comes to kind of re-entering the Paris Climate Accord, when it comes to like restructuring, at least in parts of the Iran nuclear deal. I think he's going to rip it up again. I think he's going to get out of the Paris Climate Accord. I think that he is going to destabilize the Middle East, in the sense that I think that he is going to let Russia invade Ukraine. Because you really kind of have to take note of the specific language that Trump uses when he talks about kind of literally anything. And the language that he has used, and it sounds good to his supporters, but it sounds good. He says he wants the war to end. You don't say how you want the war to end. You don't say that you want it to end by these two parties coming to some sort of a peace agreement. You don't say that. You say that you just say that you want the war to end. Being so kind of vague on those details, should and does only kind of cast into doubt exactly what that means. I think that as generous as Biden has been to Israel, I think that Trump is going to make him. I mean, Trump is going to have his like fucking hold my beer moment. He's going to literally do absolutely everything that he possibly can to help Israel with their genocide of the Palestinian people. I think that um when it really kind of gets into it, that he's just going to do so much more. He's going to make Biden seem like he was on the fucking side of Palestine, which we all know that he's not, by the way. I see these kind of conservatives and these Republicans posting out these like images of like, vote pro-Israel on November 5th. Which party do you want me to vote for? Like, Kamala has said that she is on the side of Israel, that Israel has the right to defend itself. We've all seen the fucking rallies and the quotes and the everything else that she's done. Does Palestine not have the right to defend itself? Do the Palestinians not have the right to defend themselves? Is that what we're kind of getting at here? Because she's never said that. Like, look, The idea that Trump is going to be anything kind of, anti-war, I mean, it's just ridiculous, right? So you'll have all of his kind of supporters saying that, oh, that there was no kind of, there was no new wars, or he was good on war, blah, 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 blah. Dude, fucking drone strikes up over 400% under Trump. He dropped more bombs in 2 years than Obama, or sorry, not dropped more bombs, more drone strikes in 2 years than Obama did in his 8 years of presidency, and he already wasn't very fucking good on that record, and he did that in 2 years. Um, he assassinated Soleimani. He has done all of these things. Trump is not anti-war. By the way, he didn't get them out of a single fucking war that they were in. At least Biden pulled out of Afghanistan. Now, yes, before you comment, yes, it was a shit show. Absolutely, absolutely, it was a shit show because the starting process of that happened under Trump. And the first couple of things that was the first couple of steps, step one through three, happened under Trump, and it was a fleshed out plan on how that withdrawal would happen, but because but and this is crucial. Trump never told Biden what the fucking steps were, what the plans were. He never told them anything. So he was relying on second, third hand information on exactly what they had to do. So when they were doing that, that's why it was such a shit show, by the way. That's just why. I'm not saying that it is all entirely 100% Trump's fault. I mean, at least Biden could have done better. 100% could have done better on that record. But to say that it's 100% Biden's fault when he wasn't even given 100% of the information, no, that's just no. So we know that he's a war hawk. We know that he loves war. We know that he loves his big shiny fucking button, and that he loves comparing the size of buttons with himself and Kim Jong Un. We know that he made absolutely no attempts of getting U.S. troops out of the countries that they were in, thus kind of ending those conflicts or ending those wars. Um, Okay, yeah, and something else that people love to say is that, well, there was no new wars under Trump. Congress hasn't declared war since World War II. I don't know what your fucking point is there. Technically speaking, then no president since the 50s have started any new wars. But I don't think that that's quite the argument that you were going for. So, this idea that he's anti-war, just get rid of that. He fucking loves it. He bathes in it. He said he's going to be a dictator on day one. What would that kind of look like? Well, he's already talked about kind of getting rid of the Department of Education. He was on Fox and Friends where they had to put a fucking black towel on the white couch for him in case he shot himself because he's such an old fucking man. And he said that there was one of the hosts that asked him, um, well, if there was a teacher that was going to be, teaching the students, well, that like no, that like that there was a war over slavery, that's what the civil war was over, or teaching them that that like this is stolen land, that like people came over here, there was the Native Americans here, they slaughtered them, they stole their land, whatever else. And Trump said that he would withhold funding from them for teaching the truth. You have an educator who is trying to educate students, and you are going to punish the educator because they did their job correctly. I mean, make that make sense. Make that make sense. It's lunacy. Um. So yeah, I think that he is going to be absolutely fucking terrible. I think that when you look at what happened under Trump, banning trans people from the military, when like how terrible he was, just in a broad sense, on LGBTQIA rights. When you talk about how he was with deficit spending and everything else, the economy was in like a fucking tailspin when Biden took over. Um, I mean, like, Biden at least had the excuse of kind of inheriting COVID. So maybe, if I'm to be overly charitable, you could maybe kind of excuse Trump's last year, but the first three, he massively deficit spent. He just drove up the fucking deficit. He added, like, what was it, like 6 trillion to it or something absolutely ludicrous like that. You think when he gets back into fucking office, he's gonna have suddenly fucking educated himself over the last 4 years? He thinks that China's paying for tariffs. He thinks that the country that you implement tariffs on, that the country is paying them. That is ludicrous. Why on earth would they pay them? You have been president. You have to think about this, right? Because I do know the fucking chances that there is somebody who has not yet voted, who is watching this and who is going to be persuaded by it. I fucking hope that it does. You have to just take a step back, remove your biases just for 2 fucking seconds. If you are considering voting for Trump, you are considering voting for a man who was president for 4 years, has the history of being a businessman. You believe he was a very successful businessman, and that's why you wanted him to be president the first time. Was president for 4 years, who does not understand how tariffs work. Like, just for even a moment, just fucking consider that. He does not understand how tariffs work. And yet you think that he's this incredibly successful businessman who we can all agree was already president for 4 years. And this man doesn't understand how tariffs work. I mean, it's ludicrous. Um, so yeah, so I think that he's going to drive the country into almost like a recession, which, I mean, is not going to be good for you guys. I think that when it comes to women, you know, is he going to implement a national abortion ban? I would not in any way, shape, or form be surprised if he did. You know, I mean, we all have to look at and to listen to what Trump says, but you also kind of have to. I mean, like, he constantly is talking out of both sides of his mouth. He says one thing, but like his supporters kind of hear the dog whistle kind of mixed up in the quote that he will say that sounds not that bad to the media and everything else, but his supporters hear what he's really saying, right? Um, so, oh, so you have that guy. I don't know if he's gonna implement like a national abortion ban. I don't know if that's gonna happen. It might do. It might happen. He might bring that in. He says he's not going to. He says he's happy now that the states have full control over what's being said and how they're being run and everything else. But I don't know. Is he going to do everything that's in Project 2025? I don't know if he's going to do everything that's in it. Um I think he's going to do a lot of it. And I think if he's ever called out on it, he'll just say it was a massive dink, because he keeps saying that he's never read Project 2025, but then literally in the same breath will say, I haven't read it. There's some things in there that are good things and some things that are bad things, but I haven't read it. Well, if you haven't read it, how the fuck do you know there's good things in there and there's some things that are bad? This is what I'm saying. How is it that it's so easily identifiable for me as a complete and utter outsider to like fucking understand this and to hear what he's exactly saying, and you don't. But anyway, yeah, I think if Trump wins the presidency, it was, if you could kind of ignore some things. Fuck, it was good crack for 4 years, wasn't it? I mean, like, politics wasn't fucking boring. Um, but I mean, like, then you could, and like that's a very kind of reactionary take on it. But then you have to kind of look at, no, that like he was actually affecting people's lives. You know, and I mean, like, that's even maybe just in just his presidency. Obviously, the overturning of Roe v. Wade only happened when he left. Um, when he left office and when it was Biden. But and so like that's now kind of affected literally half of the population. Uh do you know any single Irish people that will marry me so I can escape here? Look, go on Tinder Plus. You get to do the little fucking airplane thing. Go over here. There'll be someone there. And the Irish do spell it as Craic. Yeah, it's crack. It's mean like, good fun, good times, good banter, that sort of way. Where the fuck was I? See, this is why I love engaging with my chat, but I'm also so ADHD brain that I literally cannot fucking remember what I was saying. Um, fuck was I fucking saying, man? Yes, sorry. That you know, looking at it as like, good fun or whatever else, it's fine in the moment, but then you realize that he actually affected people's lives in a very, very, very negative way. And you kind of have to, like, it's not fun anymore. It's not funny anymore. It's not a good time anymore. And then obviously with the overturning of Roe v. Wade, I mean, like, that was such, I mean, a massively significant thing that happened that, we are now seeing. I mean, this is like the worst kind of deja vu. Because you are seeing now coming out of several states. I think it's 20 states that have kind of like somewhat kind of strict Trump abortion bans. Um, and I mean, you are hearing stories coming out of, as Kamala said in the debate, and as she said in rallies, and then since, is that, I mean, like, people kind of bleeding out in their cars, people bleeding out in parking lots, people, possibly not being able to have kids in the future, just because, and they wanted the child that they have now, they wanted the baby that they were currently pregnant with, but a medical complication happens, it happens, um and now they might never be able to have children in the future. So it's not just about, all of those stories, they are awful. They are awful. Please don't think that I'm downplaying it. They are absolutely awful. But what I also think is, it's so fucking sad because I've heard all of these stories before. Like, you have to remember, Ireland only legalized abortion in 2018. It was only a couple of years apart where we legalized it, and you guys got rid of it. And all of the stories that I was hearing from women that was happening around the time where there was even kind of whispers or rumors of this possibly coming up for a general election. not a fucking general election, Jesus Christ, of a referendum. Um, the stories that I would hear from women, and then obviously when it was officially kind of announced that we were going to be voting on whether or not the Eighth Amendment here, which was basically to say that abortion was not legal, if we were going to repeal the by good, and just as I talk about the Irish talking about fucking abortion, who the fuck shows up? Only crafty fucking Keela. Jesus Christ, where the fuck have you been, girl? Anyhow, when we start hearing about all of these stories that are now coming out about American women, and I mean, like when it was officially announced that we were going to be voting on abortion, on the Eighth Amendment, in Ireland, like the stories that came out is just they are almost identical to the stories that are now coming out in the States. And I mean, it's what I did say it at the time. I don't necessarily want fucking credit for it or anything else, but I did say it at the time that abortion does not get rid of abortion. It doesn't alleviate the problem. It just shoves it underground. Women will find other ways of getting rid of an unwanted pregnancy. Um, it's it it's not just that you go to a doctor or you go to Planned Parenthood or you go to wherever it is, and have an abortion. I mean, like there was stories of women in Ireland who were taking like out of date ulcer pills, stomach ulcer pills, to like and that, yes, that caused them to miscarry, that caused them to lose their baby, to lose their pregnancy, but it also had untold fucking side effects. And also because it was not legal here, if you then went to the hospital about it, the hospital have to ask you questions about what the fuck happened to you. And you have to tell them, because otherwise you're not going to get accurate medical care. But then if you do tell them, then they figure out what happened and you're punished for it. Which is now what is happening in some of these 20 states which are living under Trump abortion bans. And what did he say? What did Trump say when he was campaigning in 2016, before he was even president? He sat down and said there has to be some punishment for the women. Well, they're getting fucking punished now. Because they're bleeding out in fucking parking lots. They're unable to have kids. Even though they wanted to have kids now, they are unable to have future kids. It's just insane. Talk about a punishment. He didn't realize it was going to be a fucking psychological one. He thought maybe that he meant like prison time or a fine of some description. Nah, psychological fucking punishment. By the way, any of the women who have survived the oh my god, the circumstances surrounding them losing a pregnancy, you think they're going to vote for you? Nah, mate. Nah. I genuinely think that the overturning of Roe v. Wade was because Trump wasn't technically, well, he wasn't. He said that the they had wanted to overturn Roe v. Wade for a very, very long time. And technically speaking, that's not wrong. But they didn't, they always knew. You see, like Trump was too stupid to realize that yes, you can continue to campaign on an issue because it gets you votes. But abortion is one of those things that once the cat's out of the bag, you're not getting them back in there. Now that Trump has actually overturned Roe v. Wade and abortion is no longer federally legal, you have now ostracized so many voters from ever voting for your party again. because they now know. You see, the thing about it is, Roe v. Wade was passed 50 years ago. There are very, 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 not, well, not very, very few, but there's not very many people alive today. Everybody basically on like 55 and younger has zero memory of ever living without abortion rights. And it is only people older than that can actually remember what it was like when there was no abortion as the law of the land in the US. But now everybody 55 and under, now they do know, because they might not know, because it might not happen to them personally, but they know someone that it happened to, or they read about these things, or it's covered in the news, or Kamala Harris says it, or Tim Walz says it, or AOC says it, or any other Democratic member of Congress or the Senate or is running for all of these things. They all say it. They're all out there shouting and screaming about this, saying the names of the people that this has happened to. You can campaign on an issue, but if you actually do it, you have to live with the negative consequences. You have to live with the negative consequences. And the negative consequences of overturning Roe v. Wade is essentially you have now ostracized a significant portion of the country who will never vote for you again. Never vote for you again. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that's what I think will happen if Trump wins. I'm just going to take a slight break. I'm going to catch up on chat because I can see it fucking flying up on screen there. And then I'm going to go over what will happen, what I think might happen if Kamala wins. So, Crafty says that she has been being blah, blah, blah. I've been a parent. Well, yes, that is all right. Okay, fine. Your child comes first. Been working too, and yes, it was a lot of work to get news. Yeah. Side report. I was an organizer with the abortion rights campaign and needed an abortion in Ireland. We sat with women as they took abortion pills. Yes, I do remember you saying this to me. Because we were to do a debate on abortion. Oh my God, that's probably a shocking amount of years ago now. But yeah, no, I do specifically remember you saying that to me. They're prosecuting people who have had miscarriages. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, that's absolute. I mean, that's just horrific. Um, I Keela, I actually didn't know that they tried to do that in Ireland. I don't know how I didn't know that, but I actually did not know that. And Jer asks, does Ireland have subdivisions of government that can have laws that are against national law, similar to how states' right works? No. That's the short answer. No, basically. Ireland is not a big enough country um to have that kind of level of kind of like localized power in the like equivalent of kind of state by state, like it's literally it's just not a big enough country. Um but Keita also says it's evidence that rights are hard won and easily lost. The difference between Ireland and the US is that the US won the legal argument, Ireland won the moral argument. That's a fantastic fucking point. That is a fantastic point. Jesus Christ. Southern Import, yes, before the X case, they tried to prosecute 3 women who presented with miscarriages. I mean, that's literally just insane. I mean, like it's literally just insane. Like, you know what I mean? Um, I mean, like, what the fuck do you even do to prosecute somebody who has a miscarriage? A miscarriage is like is like an unfathomably common occurrence. Like, there are how many women who have a miscarriage that they just think was just, heavy period this month. Nope, turns out you were fucking pregnant and you just miscarriage. I don't want to downplay the kind of severity of that, or because like I am not in any way, shape, or form saying that like, oh, it's just an oopsie or it's just a heavy period this month, but that is unfathomably common. You know, so like to say that like to prosecute miscarriage, but also it's a fucking miscarriage. Now, yes, you can induce a miscarriage, but how the fuck are they gonna know? Without like untold amounts of government overreach from the party that used to be of small government, by the way. Untold amounts of government overreach, literally fucking combing through your life to see what the fuck is happening. They will test your urine. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ. I mean, it's just insane. Like that is like again unimaginable levels of government overreach. We still have women leaving Ireland for abortions. I've hosted 4 women in the past 18 months from rural Ireland where doctors have opted out of providing abortion. You see, that's the other thing, man. I mean, like, would that happen for literally anything else? If you had, like, a fucking, like, let's just say, for argument's sake, right? Purely hypothetical. Every single doctor in Ireland was was really, 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 really good at operating on knees, right? If you needed a knee surgery, gee, you had your fucking pick of who you went to. But then you go to the fucking best one because he doesn't like the look of you. He's going to fucking opt out of doing it. Why do you get to fucking opt out of doing a fucking medical procedure? Oh, it goes against your religion. Fuck your religion. This is about medical care. You took an oath, and like this is exactly what you signed up for. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, and that is exactly what women in the US are facing now on a daily basis. The difference is that the UK already has networks set up to support women. Yes, exactly. But and look, I mean, like, I'm sure if this is not overturned in like the near future, like there's going to probably be programs like that in like blue states that will help women who are in red states kind of go there for that procedure. But I mean, like right now, that's not set up. Like I mean, like this is still kind of early days of this law having taken effect. Like so. Anywho, what if Kamala wins? Well, if Kamala wins, I think that I do. I believe Kamala when she says that she would govern slightly different to Biden. That she would bring her own experiences and her own work ethic and her own kind of lived experience and everything else to the job. Um, and that would kind of basically mean that like it wouldn't be, it might be similar in some ways, as I'm sure that Biden governing was similar in some ways to Obama. That's not just because he was VP then, but just because. But I don't think it's going to be just like a copy and paste. I don't think it's going to be a continuation of the previous 4 years. I just think I do think that it's going to be a little bit better in to do with some things, and in some cases I do think it's just gonna be better. I mean, she's after providing, she she wants to implement a $6,000 tax credit to new mothers. I mean, I just think that that's insanely fucking insanely positive. Insanely positive. Then when you are talking about, she wants to do the $50,000 tax deduction for people to set up small businesses. You know, that's a fantastic incentive to want to do that. 50 grand off of your taxes. That's an insane fucking boost, man. You want to talk about kind of $6,000 tax credit to mothers, even with the cost of living, even with the cost of goods and services, and even with the cost of absolutely everything over in the States, you get $6,000 knocked off your taxes. That's an insane fucking saving. That is an unbelievable fucking saving. That's gonna buy you, like, you're talking at least what, 2 3 months of kind of almost everyday essentials. That's your like talking about like fucking nappies, fucking wipes, food, groceries, fucking all of those sorts of things for at least kind of 2 to 3 months of the year is now just fucking paid for. I mean, it's a no fucking brainer, that's just a good thing. Um, you know, I think that she will be pretty good on the border. Um, I mean, well, like there would be a much better uh, um um situation down at the border if Trump did not fucking kill the last border bill. But I mean, like the fucking border agents fucking endorsed the bill for God's sake. I mean, Jesus Christ, like, look, the bill was written by a staunch conservative, so I mean, I'm sure there was some kind of details or some kind of stuff in there that I wouldn't necessarily like, but at the same time, like, the idea that a presidential candidate can call up people of his own party whilst he's not acting as president, can call up people in his own party in Congress and have them kill a bill that would solve an issue simply just because he wants to run on that issue. You don't fucking care. You don't care about that issue if you are okay killing that issue. So, oh, where else? What kind of stuff did I go over with Trump? Because we'll try and make some direct comparisons. I don't think that the Israel and Gaza situation is going to get too much better. Sorry, either one that you vote for, that's just not gonna be too much of a benefit there. I think that Kamala would be slightly better on it, just because I mean, like, she's not a fucking stark raving fucking lunatic who's just out for blood. Um, I really fucking wish that she hadn't leaned into the Israel stuff like as much. It would just make it an awful lot easier to defend her and to kind of sing her praises when it came to videos like this and any videos that I've done previous. Um, Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, Keela, as you said there, yeah, it is definitely concerning that the Dems are being seen as radicals for using 1990s Republican goals. But also, I seen Sam Harris, who I have more than one or two issues with, sit down with Ben Shapiro. And I mean, like, he, to be fair, oh my God, what an unbelievably fucking good point that this was that he was making. What a fantastic argument it was. I'll kind of steal it just for the kind of purposes of doing this. Like, if there is anybody out there who would be considering voting for Trump, right, and you call yourself a Republican and you have for a while, if I was to tell you, right, if I told you 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, that you would eventually be happily voting for a man who has cheated on all three of his wives, including his current one. He's twice divorced. I don't really know how that's going to work out. With Melania, I guess we'll kind of see after the kind of election dies down a little bit. Um, who has had sex with a porn star, used um campaign finance, blah blah blah, used campaign donations to pay off that porn star so that she wouldn't talk about what happened, and yet all of us know exactly what the fuck happened anyway. Who would be so unimaginably sexist and racist and discriminatory and prejudice, and would come up with childish fucking nicknames for people that he didn't like, and for someone who only 2 days ago damn near fucking killed themselves trying to get into a fucking literal dumpster truck. Just as a slight fucking note, slight side tangent. Um, I don't know who in his campaign's idea it was, to give him a high visibility vest that was the same color as his face. Um, don't know if that was intentional, as in you don't really like him and so you did it intentionally, or not, but fucking funny though. I just don't know if anybody who called themselves a Republican 15 years ago would even comprehend voting for someone like Trump. If you were to go back in time and explain exactly who Trump was, I don't I don't think that they would possibly consider voting for. Anyway, sorry. This is supposed to be what happens if Kamala wins. Okay. I think that yes, the issue with Israel and Palestine, I don't think that that's going to fundamentally change. I hope it does. I seriously hope that I am wrong about that. I don't think I think that there might be a little bit of leeway and genuine progress in Russia versus Ukraine. I think that there genuinely might be good kind of progress and steps made there. Um, which, look, I mean, we're not going to downplay, and we're not going to kind of say that that's not a victory, right? It's not a complete victory, but it is definitely a victory if that was to happen. Um, yeah, I mean, I just think that, like, if Kamala does even kind of half of the things that she's kind of promised, and look, there was someone else that had said it in chat, and I mean, like, every single president, every single presidential candidate makes promises that they know that they can't keep, or that they know are a little bit too kind of pipe dreamy, or that they know are never going to fucking happen. Right? When they actually get into to office, they're just going to completely fucking abandon that notion and that idea and that everything, and they're just, you know what I mean, they are never going to kind of go with that again. um I do think though that if she was to do half of the things that she said that she was going to do, she would be genuinely seen as a very kind of popular president. I genuinely, and I mean this from the fucking bottom of my heart, I genuinely hope that she gets some sort of real tangible movement on getting Roe v. Wade back as the law of the land. Because, the stories that came out of Ireland, the stories that we all kind of know, the stories from women in other countries where right now abortion is not legal. They are living through this. They have been living through this. I mean, it's it's a new phenomenon for American women now. But I mean, like, this is not, it's not exactly shocking. And as if there are so many hundreds upon thousands upon even millions of women all over the world that didn't know exactly what was going to happen when Roe v. Wade was overturned, because they knew exactly what was going to happen because they've lived through it, and oh, I genuinely hope that some that Roe v. Wade and the rules and conditions and everything else of it can be the law of the land again. I genuinely hope that that would kind of happen, because I think that if that was to happen, Democrats are going to get such a fucking major bump, man. They're going to get such an unbelievable popularity boost, and it would be such a fucking display of strength and of unity, and about just doing the right thing for literally half the population of the US. And I mean, like, just think about the fucking messaging. I mean, it would just be a layup for them winning almost every single election that they now run in for the next God knows how long. Again, think about the fucking messaging that they could do. That they're now literally about taking away your rights, and we're about giving them back to you. Fucking, and that's a fucking layup, Literally, it is. That's not to say that's not going to be easy. You know what I mean? I mean, like, vote fucking Democrat down the fucking ballot, man. It's not just enough about putting Kamala in there, but I mean, if she doesn't have Congress behind her, if she doesn't have the Senate behind her, if she doesn't have the amount of votes and stuff like that that she needs for both Congress and the Senate, you need, I mean, like, that's just not going to get done. So yes, vote Kamala, but vote Democrat down the fucking ballot. Give us the blue tsunami that we've been fucking desperate for the last God knows how long. Yeah, anyway, look, that's what I think is going to happen with Kamala. I don't think that too much is going to kind of fundamentally change. I think that it's going to be a little bit different how she governs versus Biden. But I don't think it's going to be like a massive kind of sweeping change. She's not the new kind of um she's not the new FDR. In the same way that people thought that Obama was going to be the new FDR, because he campaigned way to the fucking left of how he actually governed. Kind of somewhat speaking of how Kamala has been campaigning. I mean, considering the fact that she kind of entered the race late, um, I'll assume it was a surprise to her, and she had no idea that that's what Joe was kind of thinking, or that's what he was going to do. She was probably one of the first people to find out, right? Before Joe actually made it fucking public. She probably knew. But considering that Trump had, a couple of months of a head start on her, and the fact that she had to then kind of rally people around her, actually build a fucking a staff to campaign with. The fact that she then had to kind of come up with, okay, well, look at what are the policies that I'm actually going to fucking run on? How am I going to do this? What am I going to, the fact she had to do all of that in a shorter period of time, you can, you can kind of be a little bit charitable, there, and kind of give her a pass on some things. I do think that overall, she's kind of ran. Like, I would kind of grade her like a B minus on how she has campaigned so far. I think that when she started overly listening to the DNC, and especially when she started touring the fucking country with Liz fucking Cheney, um, I mean, like, that was just a bad move. That was just a misstep. You think about, like, the level of energy and of everything else that was around you when your unofficial campaign slogan was "We're not going back," which, by the way, unbelievable fucking campaign slogan, by the way. But apparently the DNC, they didn't really like that. They thought it was too harsh, and so they told her to stop saying it. And then she did. stop saying it. That's what I mean by she listened to them a little bit too much. But you notice in the last little while she's now started saying it again because she's just like, you know what? Fuck you. We've looked at the polls. We were massively up. We went down there a little bit. I said it once or twice more, and I started to, bounce back up. So fuck you. I'm saying it every fucking chance that I get, and she is now saying it every chance that she gets. Oh, yeah. I don't know, man. I just think that I think she has a good chance to win. I genuinely do, and I hope that she does win. However, it's not all we were going to talk about tonight. We also have one more thing. Final segment. Final segment. We're in the home stretch, folks. Final segment tonight is I'm not going to play this video, but basically Biden, I don't know whether he meant it as a fucking slip up or whether he actually meant to kind of say it or not. I don't know. I don't care. He said the Trump's voters were garbage. Right? Now he kind of corrected himself a little bit on Twitter and said that he didn't mean to say that. He just meant to say that the comments surrounding it were garbage or something. Blah, blah, blah. Doesn't fucking matter. The right lost their collective minds when that happened. They started instantly fucking clutching their pearls, going, how dare he say that we are garbage? How dare he be so rude and so mean? Listen. When your guy says this...
She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face.
When your guy says that about Liz Cheney, which he is now, I mean, the guy just can't fucking help himself, can he? There are now genuine investigations as to whether he just called for a death threat or not, which is yet another felony. Jesus, he's really kind of racking him up like fucking COD points at the moment. When your guy says that, and the audience there, he's sitting next to fuck is he sitting next to? Tucker Carlson. When he's sitting next to him, and all of the people out there in the audience, and they're all laughing, smiling, cheering, fucking encouraging him. Get the fuck out of here. With your pearl clutching fucking nonsense. Because Biden said the most milquetoast, stupid thing. He called you fucking garbage. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. You think that they are in any way comparable? Garbage. That's nothing. That is nothing. Tim Walz at a fucking rally a week ago, 10 days ago, said that Elon Musk was skipping around the stage like a dipshit. That dipshit is worse than fucking garbage, but there was very little coverage about that because it's just fucking true. But then, when the couple of assassination attempts against him happened, it was all talk about the left's incitement to violence. What the fuck do you think he's just done there? Like, what the fuck do you think that... Like... Jesus. I didn't necessarily want to kind of say that. I mean, like, obviously it was a reaction that I had like a couple of days after I first seen this, which was my comeback stream that I did about 2 months ago now. I said that I was fed up trying to appeal to the right. And yes, the absolutely, as you said, the would-be assassins were all of them were registered Republicans. So, anywho, I said in my comeback stream that I am done trying to appeal to the right wing. I'm done trying to kind of appear moderate and get them on side or blah blah blah. Blah. I'm done because they are just they are not gettable. You can't reason with these people. Anybody that was in that audience that clapped and whooped and cheered a person that might be voted as the next president of the United States is calling for the most blatant example of political violence or just an incitement to violence that any political figure has made in decades. How on earth, how on earth are you supposed to appeal to that type of person? How on earth am I supposed to make? I could construct the best fucking argument in the history of arguments as to why you shouldn't vote for Trump or to why he would be a bad president, etc., etc., etc. All of us. Deaf ears. Who the fuck is going to be persuaded by that when you have a presidential candidate who is literally at the time of filming this, literally 3 days away from potentially becoming the most powerful person on this planet, doing that egregious a call to violence? Fuck am I supposed, what am I supposed to say? How are you supposed to convince these fucking idiots? Joe Biden calls him fucking garbage. I'll go way fucking more. You are the people who sit in his audiences and listen to him saying that, and who will listen to him talk about, who have heard the fucking Hollywood Access tape, who have heard all of the fucking testimonies from countless, at this point, women who have come forward and who have accused him of sexual harassment or sexual assault, or people who have, how he talks about different fucking countries and how he talks about people from different countries and how he talks about the fact that the fucking Democrats are the enemy from fucking within, how he talks about everything else like this. You are scum. You're fucking scum. How on earth am I supposed to get through to you, thick cunts? I mean, it's just insane. It's fucking ludicrous, like. What am I supposed to say to you, ass clowns? I mean, it just defies all fucking logic and belief. It is just beyond me how he is able to say this, and there's virtually no backlash. But fuck all on the media. But a good bit on fucking TikTok because everybody is fucking reactionary now. And yes, as I said, there have been calls to have him investigated because he said this, but that's just because of how fucking blatant it is. This is not the first time that he's wished fucking pain and suffering on anybody. He asked in a fucking rally a month ago if there was any of Kamala's people in there. Oh, maybe don't put your hand up because you might get, because, you might not make it out of here. He's saying that his own fucking supporters at his own rally are going to be physically violent towards somebody else just because they're not going to vote the same way. I mean, it is unconscionable. I know that so many people say this in this situation, but if that was a fucking Democrat, man, they would be axed fucking immediately. Immediately. Somebody that you perceive as your rival. Right? And just by the way, just Liz Cheney voted with Trump 92% of the time. She backed him in 2016 and she backed him in 2020. She changed her whole mind and her whole perception on who Trump was and what he was after January 6th. And good on her. But that's about as much credit as I'm going to fucking give you. She is way more of a Trump ally than she is any Democrat ally. So, but here's the thing. I'm not going to wish I wish that she didn't think the things that she does. And I wish that she would maybe step down, or at least that she would be beaten in a race for her seat. And that a even nominal Democrat would get in and just vote along the party lines, and at least we might get some shit done. But I'm not going to wish fucking violence on anybody. Not to that fucking level. 9 fucking guns pointed at your head. Yes, she's a warmonger. Everybody knows this. That's not an excuse to fucking wish death upon her. I just think, man, like, if this was a fucking Democrat, like, how much would the Republicans be losing their fucking mind? It would be non-stop. I mean, non-stop coverage. And yet it's just crickets. Crickets. No, I don't have anything more to say. Not really. I mean, if there was anybody who's seen my comeback stream who has now seen this one, I mean, I know that you're not going to be overly kind of surprised. If there is anybody who has never seen me before and everything else, and you're wondering why I was so kind of biased against Trump and for Kamala, man, I'm to the fucking left of Kamala. I wish that she was way more fucking left. You know? Of course I'm going to be fucking biased towards her. But I mean, like, I used to kind of have to sit down before I would do these types of streams and kind of think about, okay, well, look, how am I going to phrase this part? Or when I talk about this thing, how am I going to phrase it so that I can kind of, try and kind of get people. Fuck that. Fuck that. I'm done. I'm done trying to get anybody over. Because they're just not gettable. They live in fucking delusion. They have surrounded themselves with delusion. I can't remember what the exact percentage was, but I mean, it was like the overwhelming majority of MAGA Republicans genuinely believe that Trump won the last election and actually had it stolen from him. Nah. Your guy's just a sore loser and didn't want to accept defeat. That's what happened. There is no conspiracy. There's no There's no fucking smoke-filled backroom deals. There's no fucking George Soros fucking plants or Bill Gates fucking big operation happening in the background. None of that. None of that happened. Your guy didn't get as much votes as our guy did. That's what happened. He's too much of a sore loser to accept that fact. You guys are in a fucking cult. That's what's wrong with you. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many arguments is made to you. How many, because I've seen like other streamers and other kind of people on like TikTok Live and stuff like that, like all fucking talk about this. If you genuinely don't have any sort of criticisms of Trump as a Trump voter, you're in a cult. I said I encouraged people on this stream to vote for Kamala. I talked about what I think is going to happen if she wins, and I was negative towards her. Criticizing the people that you vote for is not a bad thing. It's not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of, oh fuck, I was wrong. It's a point of responsibility. Because you're basically saying, hey, motherfucker, I trusted you. I voted for you. And now look at what you're doing. That's not what I voted for you for. Get the fuck back in your office and do your fucking job. You're supposed to be able to fucking criticize the people that you vote for. You're supposed to be able to criticize Trump more than us because you fucking voted for him. But you don't think that there is anything to criticize him on. It's not just about what his like actual just everyday supporter will say, but you look at any of his past, even 5 rallies, the fucking messiah complex that's going on with you guys and Trump is frankly disgusting. So anyway, yeah, look, oh my god. I did an awful lot of ranting and raving there. That was building up for quite some time. I needed to fucking get that out. Look, the next time that I do a stream, it's going to be when we know the results of this election. I am very, 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 very apprehensive. I hope she wins. If you are American, vote. You know me, you know my biases and what I think. Just vote. I would encourage you to vote for Kamala, but vote. It is a civic duty. It is something that I think that everybody should do. Go out and vote. Anyway. Wow. Until next time, when we know what the results of this election is. Take care out there, guys. It's going to be a wild ride.